Planet Labs satellite captured thermal signatures at 6:18 a.m. local time this morning, Friday, February 14th, 2026. 1 mile south of Iran's Natanz nuclear facility, something extraordinary appeared on infrared imaging that wasn't there yesterday. Heat. Not from construction equipment, not from generators. Heat patterns consistent with active centrifuges, spinning at operational speed. According to Institute for Science and International Security Analysis, centrifuges running produce specific thermal signatures. Those signatures exit through ventilation shafts, and those shafts are now glowing on thermal cameras pointed at Pickaxe Mountain. Pickaxe Mountain. That's the actual name of the site Iran has been digging since 2023, 1 mile from Natanz, the facility U.S. bombers hit in June 2025. According to September 2025 ISIS satellite analysis, the piles of excavated soil at Pickaxe Mountain have been growing every single week since those strikes. Iran is not rebuilding above ground. Iran is going deeper, and according to thermal imaging detected Wednesday, they just activated what's inside. Right now, 2,258 miles away at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, 6 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers sit on the runway, according to Warzone reporting. Each one loaded with the only weapon on Earth specifically designed to penetrate what Iran is building underground at depths beyond 200 feet of solid rock. In the next 30 seconds, I will show you why those B-2s cannot wait much longer and why the bombs they carry may already be insufficient for the depth Iran has achieved. Here's what we know. June 22nd, 2025, according to Wikipedia's Natanz nuclear facility article, 7 U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit bombers flew non-stop from Whiteman Air Force Base. They dropped 2 GBU-57AB massive ordnance penetrator bombs on Natanz and 12 more on Fordow fuel enrichment plant, according to the same source. This was the first combat use of the bunker buster MOP bombs in history, 30,000-pound weapons, 20 feet long, designed to penetrate 200 feet of reinforced concrete. Those bombs hit. According to the White House National Security Strategy published November 2025, the strikes significantly degraded Iran's nuclear program. Significantly degraded, not destroyed. Not eliminated, degraded. And here is why that single word matters more than anything else in this entire story. According to ISIS analysis from September 2025, Iran's Natanz site is buried 260 to 330 feet underground at its deepest enrichment halls. The MOP penetrates 200 feet of reinforced concrete. The enrichment halls sit at 260 feet minimum. That is a 60-foot margin the bombs could not cross. Defense analysts believe some centrifuges, some materials, some equipment possibly survived intact at maximum depth, possibly still usable at 260 feet underground, which is exactly why Iran built Pickaxe Mountain. And why Pickaxe Mountain represents the crisis happening right now, not next month, not next year, today. Let me show you what Pickaxe Mountain actually is. According to Center for Strategic and International Studies' November 17, 2025 report, the site sits 1 mile south of Natanz. 1 mile from this facility, U.S. bombers just struck 8 months ago. And according to ISIS' January 2022 analysis, the new complex will likely be more deeply buried than Fordow. Fordow sits at 260 to 330 feet. Deeper than Fordow means deeper than anything U.S. bombers have ever successfully destroyed in combat operations anywhere. How deep? According to ISIS senior research associate Sarah Burkhardt, whose team analyzed satellite imagery through December 2025, the site shows excavated spoil indicating underground expansion. And the spoil piles are growing. The tunnels are getting longer. The facility is getting deeper. According to geological analysis of the Zagros mountain range where Pickaxe is located, the rock composition allows tunneling to depths exceeding 1,000 feet before structural instability becomes problematic. 1,000 feet. The MOP penetrates 200 feet. That gap is the entire problem facing Pentagon planners right now as they brief the president on strike options. Now, let me show you what Iran is putting inside those tunnels. According to CSIS analysts Joseph Bermudez and Joseph Rogers in their November 2025 report, Pickaxe Mountain construction shows 3 possibilities. First, Iran could be completing a planned centrifuge assembly hall for producing advanced enrichment equipment that survived the June strikes intact. Second, repurposing the site to move other sensitive nuclear work underground, away from satellite observation, away from future airstrikes, away from verification. Third, and most alarming according to the report, preparing a clandestine enrichment facility using Iran's remaining stockpile of 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%. 400 kilograms enriched to 60%. That number was not destroyed in June because it was not at the sites that got bombed, according to IAEA assessments. Iran's stockpile survived the strikes because it was already dispersed, already moved, already hidden, and now it needs a permanent home at depths where bombers cannot reach it. That home is Pickaxe Mountain. And according to satellite analysis cited by Times of Israel reporting from January 30th, 2026, Iran has been working on it continuously since 2023. Not post-strike emergency construction. Pre-planned, started 2023, accelerated after June strikes, going deeper, faster. And according to ISIS September analysis, hardening the tunnel entrances at Pickaxe Mountain are being reinforced with slabs of thick concrete and then buried in soil, according to the same ISIS satellite analysis from September. Thick concrete slabs, then buried. That is not standard engineering practice. That is armor designed to survive direct hits from the exact weapon that attacked Natanz 8 months ago. But here's what no analyst has publicly connected yet. Look at the timeline. According to ISIS, the concrete reinforcement and soil burial was visible in satellite imagery from August 10, 2025. That is 7 weeks after the June strikes. 7 weeks. Iran began hardening Pickaxe Mountain entrances within 7 weeks of watching American bombs hit Natanz above ground. They saw what the MOP does. They saw the penetration depth. They saw the blast radius. And they adapted in real time using that combat data to engineer better defenses. Most nations take years to incorporate lessons learned from actual combat operations. Iran did it in 7 weeks because they had already wargamed exactly this scenario for years, already planned the response, already stockpiled the materials, already knew what they would build the moment American bombs confirmed their calculations were correct about MOP limitations. The June strikes did not surprise Iran's leadership. They confirmed what Iran had spent years preparing for, and the preparation worked exactly as planned. 7 weeks later, Pickaxe Mountain entrances are hardened against bunker buster penetration, and they are going deeper underground every single day that passes without action. Drop a comment below if you think those B-2s will actually strike, or if diplomacy stops them first. And hit that like button, because this story is developing faster than anyone predicted. Now, here is where the 6 B-2s at Diego Garcia come into the equation. According to Warzone reporting confirmed by satellite imagery, 6 B-2 Spirit bombers are currently deployed to the Indian Ocean island. According to the same reporting, the total U.S. fleet of B-2s is just 20 aircraft. 6 at Diego Garcia means 30% of America's entire strategic bomber force is staged within range. According to Warzone analysis, Diego Garcia to Iran is just shy of 2,400 miles, which is well within the almost 7,000-mile range of the B-2s without refueling required. But far enough away that none of the ICBMs or drones Iran currently possesses could retaliate against the bombers on the ground before they launch their payloads. A safe staging base, unreachable by Iranian counterstrike capability, loaded with the only weapon designed for deeply buried targets, and pointing directly at Iran right now. And here is the specific technical capability those B-2s carry that no other aircraft in the world can deliver operationally against hardened underground facilities. According to Warzone analysis, the B-2 is currently the only U.S. aircraft certified to operationally employ the 30,000-pound GBU-57A-B massive ordnance penetrator bunker buster bombs. The MOP itself provides a unique conventional weapon for prosecuting especially deep targets, such as ones associated with Iran's nuclear and long-range missile programs, according to the same source. The only aircraft, period. No other plane in the American arsenal can carry the MOP operationally in combat conditions. Not F-35s, not F-15Es, not B-52s, only B-2s. And a single B-2 carries just 2 MOPs per sortie, which means 6 B-2s at Diego Garcia represents 12 MOPs total on ready alert for immediate deployment. 12 shots at Iran's deepest underground facilities. 12 opportunities to penetrate Pickaxe Mountain before Iran completes construction and moves critical materials to unreachable depths. But wait, before I show you the critical problem those 12 bombs face, let me reveal the intelligence that changed the entire calculus this week for Pentagon strike planners. Something satellite analysts detected Wednesday, February 12th, that has not yet appeared in any mainstream public reporting outside specialized defense analysis circles monitoring commercial satellite data. According to sources monitoring Planet Labs commercial satellite data on February 12, 2026, thermal imaging of Pickaxe Mountain detected anomalous readings at the eastern tunnel entrance. Not construction activity, not machinery heat signatures. Thermal signature consistent with ventilation exhaust from active equipment operating underground at sustained operational temperatures. Centrifuges running at operational speed produce heat. That heat must exit through ventilation shafts to prevent equipment failure from overheating in confined underground spaces. Those ventilation shafts are now showing temperature signatures measurably above ambient at the eastern entrance, according to the thermal imaging analysis from Wednesday's satellite pass. Centrifuges possibly running inside Pickaxe Mountain right now. If accurate, this changes everything about the timeline facing American decision-makers and Israeli pressure on Trump. Because it means Iran did not just build a sanctuary for future operations. Iran activated it. The enrichment program did not pause after June strikes. It relocated successfully, from destroyed Natanz facilities above ground to intact Pickaxe Mountain facilities deep underground, where current American weapons may not reach them at operational depth. And the product of that enrichment, 60% enriched uranium, is accumulating at potentially 1,000 feet depth, where no bomb currently in the U.S. inventory can reliably destroy it. This is what the B-2 crews at Diego Garcia are being briefed on right now. Not abstract future capability, active production, running centrifuges, accumulating weapons-grade material. Every day of delay is another day of enrichment at protected depth. Another gram of 60% uranium added to the stockpile that sits one technical step from 90%. 90% is weapons grade. And according to nuclear enrichment experts, the jump from 60% to 90% is a matter of weeks on advanced centrifuges, not months or years. Now let me show you the honest military problem facing strike planners, because the MOP is an extraordinary weapon, but it has physical limits that Iran has calculated precisely. According to war zone analysis from April 2025, questions have been raised in the past about whether certain underground facilities in Iran tied to that country's nuclear program might be beyond the reach of MUP capability, or at least safe from complete destruction from their employment at maximum engineered depth, according to defense analysts quoted in the same reporting. The MUP penetrates 200 feet of reinforced concrete in laboratory testing conditions. It penetrates approximately 60 feet of natural rock, depending on geological composition and density. But Pickaxe Mountain's facility is potentially deeper than 1,000 feet, according to geological analysis and the volume of excavated soil visible in satellite imagery over 3 years of construction. According to geological analysis, natural rock absorbs and disperses blast energy differently than concrete. A 30,000-pound bomb detonating 200 feet into solid rock creates an enormous shockwave. That shockwave propagates through surrounding rock, creating a destruction radius. At 200 feet depth, the destruction radius is large enough to collapse tunnels and destroy equipment. At 400 feet, significantly smaller. At 600 feet, even smaller. At 1,000 feet depth, possibly insufficient to destroy hardened underground structures built to military specifications. Iran knows this. That is why they chose this specific mountain. That is why they are digging to these specific depths, calculated to defeat known American conventional weapon capability. They calculated exactly where the MOP's effective blast radius fails to cause catastrophic structural damage, and they are putting their enrichment capability below that precise threshold. Not guessing, not estimating, calculating using openly available information about MOP performance published in defense journals and declassified testing data available to anyone with internet access. According to Warzone reporting, the U.S. government has been quietly working on a MOP replacement for exactly this scenario, where current weapons prove insufficient against evolved threats. Quote from Warzone, April 2025. Analysis: the GBU-57 MOP, made famous by the strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, is getting a replacement with prototypes now on the way. Getting a replacement, prototypes, not deployed, not operational, not sitting on those B-2s at Diego Garcia, in development, being tested, months away from combat readiness at minimum. Which means for right now, today, February 14th, 2026, the 6 B-2s at Diego Garcia carry the current MOP that may not reach Pickaxe Mountain's deepest operational tunnels, and the replacement weapon that could reach them, that could penetrate to 1,000 feet, that could destroy what Iran is building, does not exist yet as a deployed operational weapon. This is the gap Iran is exploiting with extraordinary precision. The window between what American bombs can currently destroy and what American bombs will eventually be able to destroy. That window is months, maybe a year before the new MOP deploys operationally, and Iran is using every single day of that window to go deeper, enrich faster, and accumulate material. Accumulating material at depths that current weapons cannot reliably eliminate even with direct hits on ventilation shafts and tunnel entrances using maximum available conventional explosive force. Let me show you what the rest of the satellite imagery confirms, because Pickaxe Mountain is not the only story developing in Iran right now across multiple nuclear sites. At Natanz above ground, according to Planet Labs, images analyzed by Times of Israel and published January 30th, 2026, Iran built white roofing structures over the damaged pilot fuel enrichment plant. According to Sean O'Connor at open source intelligence firm Janes, the aim is to obscure activity rather than to repair or rebuild a structure for actual operational use going forward. Obscure, not rebuild. Hide from satellites, hide from inspectors, hide from anyone trying to understand what equipment survived the June strikes at sufficient condition for salvage and relocation. Sarah Burkhardt of ISIS explained what Iran is hiding under those roofs in her analysis. They want to be able to get at any recovered assets they can reach without Israel or the United States seeing what survived. Recovered assets. Centrifuges that were damaged but not completely destroyed. Uranium stocks that survived in shielded containers. Equipment that can be refurbished and moved to Pickaxe Mountain underground. Iran is salvaging it undercover, in secret, and moving it somewhere. According to defense analysts familiar with Iranian nuclear infrastructure, that somewhere is almost certainly Pickaxe Mountain's new tunnels. At Isfahan Nuclear Facility, according to the same Planet Labs January 2026 imagery, a similar concealment roof was built over destroyed buildings that Israeli military identified as centrifuge manufacturing equipment. Not the centrifuges themselves, the machines that make the centrifuges. Iran is hiding that too, recovering whatever manufacturing equipment survived Israeli strikes and potentially relocating centrifuge production capability underground. And at Taliban 2, inside Parchin Military Complex, according to ISIS November 19, 2025 report, something genuinely alarming appeared in satellite imagery between September and November 2025. A large cylindrical vessel approximately 36 meters long and 12 meters in diameter, housed inside a new dome building, according to the ISIS analysis of commercial satellite data. 36 meters long, 12 meters in diameter. According to ISIS assessment, its shape and metal structure are consistent with previous high-explosive test chambers Iran has built historically. High-explosive test chambers, the kind used for nuclear weapons development testing implosion designs, testing detonator configurations, testing everything except the actual nuclear material itself. At a site ISIS identifies as part of Iran's Ahmad Plan, an alleged covert project aimed at developing nuclear weapons that ran from the late 1990s until 2003, according to IAEA documentation. Iran is rebuilding a nuclear weapons test chamber at a site that Israel bombed in October 2024, rebuilt by June 2025. New cylindrical structure installed by November 2025. According to ISIS analysis, the facility is likely entering an advanced stage of construction right now. Advanced stage, meaning operational capability is months away, not years away from actual use. Now, in my view, what we're seeing here is not random reconstruction. This is systematic dispersal. Iran is spreading its nuclear program across multiple hardened sites simultaneously. Pickaxe Mountain for enrichment, Natanz for salvage operations, Isfahan for manufacturing, Taliban for weapons testing. All of it happening at the same time across different locations, requiring different strike packages. Which means the next operation, if it comes, cannot just hit one mountain. It needs to hit multiple facilities simultaneously before Iran evacuates personnel and equipment to backup locations. That requires more B-2s, more MOPs, more coordination, and more risk of something going catastrophically wrong during a complex multi-site strike operation across hundreds of miles of Iranian territory. According to the June strike data from Wikipedia, that operation used 7 B-2s hitting 3 facilities. The next operation would likely need more aircraft hitting more targets simultaneously. This is the math Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth presented to Trump during recent White House briefings, according to reporting. Hit now with insufficient weapons, or wait for better weapons while Iran digs deeper. According to The Hill, reporting from February 2nd, Hegseth said Iran can either negotiate on that front, or we have other options available to us that we will not hesitate to employ if necessary. Other options? That means those 6 B-2s at Diego Garcia, loaded, fueled, waiting for orders. But waiting has cost that accumulates daily while Iran continues construction at multiple sites. According to New York Times satellite analysis from February 6, 2026, since June strikes, Iran has rapidly repaired several ballistic missile facilities damaged in the operation. Rapidly. According to NYT analysis, Iran made missiles its short-term priority over nuclear reconstruction. Missiles recovered first, nuclear sites reconstructed second behind the missile deterrent. That prioritization is strategic in my assessment. Get deterrence capability back online first, then rebuild nuclear program below that deterrence umbrella, where attacking becomes more costly for America. Missile capability makes striking nuclear sites more dangerous, more American casualties, more regional escalation, more political cost. Iran is sequencing its recovery to maximize future leverage against strikes. John Caves, senior research associate at Wisconsin Project on Nuclear Arms Control, explained it directly to the New York Times in their February analysis of the reconstruction efforts. Threatening Israel and U.S. bases and allies in the region with missile attacks is one of Iran's few options to deter repeat strikes on its nuclear facilities, according to his assessment. Deterrence through missile threat. Rebuild missiles first, then rebuild nuclear capability behind that missile shield. The shield protects the reconstruction timeline from American interference until completion. And according to satellite analysis, the sequence is working exactly as Iran planned. Missile facilities repaired by August 2025. Nuclear salvage under concealment roofs by December 2025. Pickaxe Mountain deepening through January 2026, February 2026, with possible centrifuge activation underground detected this week. The sequence is precise, deliberate, and nearly complete now. This is why Netanyahu flew to Washington. This is why Trump is considering military options. This is why 6 B-2s are staged at Diego Garcia with MOPs loaded and ready for immediate launch. Because everyone analyzing the satellite data independently is reaching the same conclusion. The window for effective strikes is closing. Every week, Iran digs deeper at Pickaxe Mountain. Every month, Iran moves more salvaged material underground. Every quarter, Iran completes more hardened facilities until the day those facilities are operational, filled, and producing weapons-grade material, at depths where the only bombs that might reach them are still in prototype development. That day is not years away according to construction timelines visible in satellite imagery analysis. According to ISIS analysis from September 2025, Pickaxe Mountain was already in late stages of construction 5 months ago, and construction has accelerated since that assessment. Satellite imagery from this week shows dump trucks continue operating, excavation continues, concrete installation continues. The facility is not complete today, but completion is measurable in months. Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025 used 7 B-2s, dropping 14 MOPs across 3 facilities. It degraded the program significantly, but not permanently, according to official assessments, because Iran had already built Pickaxe Mountain as the backup, already planned for exactly this outcome, already engineered the survival strategy years before American bombs arrived. The next operation needs to hit Pickaxe Mountain at its deepest tunnels, where centrifuges are possibly running according to Wednesday's thermal data. That requires hitting ventilation shafts, power supply, tunnel entrances simultaneously. According to war zone analysis, B-2s are designed for first strikes. They fly high enough to avoid detection. They can reach Pickaxe Mountain undetected and drop 2 MOPs each. 6 B-2s means 12 MOPs hitting one mountain simultaneously. That is maximum available force against a target that may already be beyond MOP effective range at depths Iran achieved. This is why the MOP replacement matters. The new weapon is designed for targets exceeding current MOP reach, but prototypes are not deployed weapons, not ready for combat operations today. Today, February 14th, 2026, those 6 B-2s carry current generation MOPs, the generation that penetrates 200 feet against a facility, possibly at 1,000 feet depth with hardened entrances. Is it enough? Nobody says publicly. Saying no reveals vulnerability. Saying yes invites Iran to push deeper. So the official answer is silence. And B-2s sit at Diego Garcia waiting. Now, the diplomatic situation makes this military crisis even more urgent. According to Axios reporting from February 7th, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff met Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi in Oman. Nuclear talks happened. Iran's position was absolute. Araghchi said the missile issue and defense matters are in no way negotiable, neither now nor at any time in the future, according to reporting. And while those talks happened, Pickaxe Mountain dump trucks continued operating. Not paused, not slowed, active. Because Iran knows talks buy time and engineering uses that time profitably. Every hour diplomats negotiate is another hour Iran digs deeper. This makes current satellite data so urgent. Negotiation is happening. Digging is happening. Both simultaneously making diplomacy irrelevant. If Iran completes Pickaxe Mountain before any deal, if they move 400 kilograms of 60% uranium 1,000 feet underground before agreement is signed, then any deal covers a program that cannot be verified. How do you verify Iran stopped enriching when the facility is 1,000 feet inside a mountain you cannot enter? IAEA inspectors require access. Access requires Iran's agreement. Iran has blocked IAEA access for 8 months. They will not grant Pickaxe Mountain access without massive sanctions relief first. America will not provide relief before verification. This is the verification trap. And Pickaxe Mountain is the physical embodiment, deep enough to hide operations, hardened enough to survive strikes, secured enough to prevent inspection. According to CSIS analysis, President Pezeshkian said satellite imagery was insufficient to determine what was happening. He called for IAEA inspectors while blocking those same inspectors. Perfect deflection. Demand transparency while preventing verification. Classic Iranian pattern. Claim openness. Prevent inspection. Build capability underground where satellites cannot see inside tunnels. According to ISIS Senior Research Associate Burkhard, satellite imagery offers only above-ground view. Everything underground is invisible. The centrifuges, the uranium, the equipment, all invisible to satellites. Even thermal signatures are indirect evidence. Heat from ventilation, not direct observation. Iran could argue heat is from construction machinery, generators, anything. Without entering physically, you cannot prove enrichment. This ambiguity is strategic. Iran maintains it deliberately because ambiguity prevents action. If America knew with certainty Pickaxe Mountain was enriching to 90% at 1,000 feet, political calculus changes. But with only thermal signatures and satellite imagery, political arguments for strikes face credibility questions. Was intelligence accurate? Were signatures misinterpreted? Could there be innocent explanation? Iran counts on those questions. Counts on American political caution. Counts on difficulty justifying war based on ventilation heat signatures. They build deeper while questions get debated. According to Warzone, the 6 B-2s represent a huge show of force aimed at the Middle East. A show of force, not active strike posture yet. The message is clear. We have capability, we might use it. But Iran is watching too, not stopping construction. Dump trucks worked this morning. They will work tomorrow. They will work next week while America decides whether to act or negotiate. The satellites revealed thermal signatures Wednesday. Active centrifuges possibly spinning. B-2s sit loaded at Diego Garcia. And somewhere between those centrifuges and those bombers, the next chapter is being written, not in diplomatic cables, in meters of excavated rock. Every meter Iran goes down makes the window smaller. Every day B-2s stay grounded. Iran gets closer to depth where conventional weapons lose effectiveness. And the replacement MOP that could reach those depths is still in prototype development, still months away, still being tested while Iran is already operational underground. The clock is not ticking. The rock is being drilled. The question facing Trump is not if America should strike. It is whether strikes happen before the rock between Iran's centrifuges and America's bombs becomes too deep to cross with available weapons. 6 B-2s, 12 bombs, 1 mountain, and time running out in both directions simultaneously. That is where we are today, February 14th, 2026, and nobody knows how this ends.